I mean, Cherskiy was one of those great highlights of my life. There I was, in the middle of nowhere, reading one of my dad's books. Here I am in a tiny village of Cherskiy, in a tiny little library, run by 3 librarians, and here's one of Dad's books. And it's an extraordinary feeling. And not even that, but even more bizarre, it turns out to be an Inspector West book. And here we are, page 55, and there's a little passage about me, because I figured in all the Inspector West books as one of Inspector West's children. And when Dad wrote, he would write exactly what was happening at the time to me and my brother Scoop. But it's an extraordinary feeling, and I think that Dad would have been overwhelmed if he'd made this journey all the way from London to here and found 3 people enthusiastically looking at his books and talking about them. The most important thing I learned from Dad was never ever take no for an answer. And on this expedition I've had people tell me it can't be done, or I can't do it, or you haven't got the money, or you won't be able to take it in time. So I've been not accepting no for an answer from the very first day I had the idea. And up this magnificent river, from this Lowry painting of a place called Cherskiy, which, take the romance away, means it's full of soot. And you can see huge streaks of black soot across the city because there's so many different coal files, to a place called Bilibino. I'd first heard about it about 6 months earlier. And this is a nuclear power station, less than 1,000 kilometres from the American coastline. So we were about to walk into a power station. I was quite keen to find out how like Chernobyl it was in design. It turned out to be completely different from Chernobyl. But there was another extraordinary thing about this place, which I still look back at, was a kind of feeling of disbelief. None of the power workers in this power station had been paid for 6 months, because there was no money to pay them.
Never did I think I'd see 300 uranium rods.
Believe that we're standing on top of the reactors. There's 4 of them out here, and in Canada last fall I went to see the nuclear power station near where I live with my father, and you'd never be allowed in this part of the building. I mean, this is where they put the fuel rods in, and you feel standing here inherently in danger.
To actually stand inside a nuclear reactor, to actually stand on the reactor itself, to see the rods stored at the side, I was petrified about coming here. But the experience of actually being inside a nuclear reactor is just absolutely incredible.
And then back onto the ice roads. And if you look at the mountaintops, you'll see a whole lot of them are kind of sawn off. There's one right there, almost sawn off. And that's because in the summertime, they're digging gold from it. And many of the people who were forced here by the labour camps, when they left, never went back to Moscow. And they've made much of their money from gold mining. All done in this extraordinary remote part of the world. But around them are all the people from Chukotka, the Siberian Yupik. And coming to visit us for the first time were 2 more people from the UNESCO Youth Reconciliation Team. Mona, who was a Palestinian who'd been in a prisoner of war camp, and Ronnie, who was an Israeli parachutist, sergeant. And they both came together to ask this hard-knit, tiny team so that we could say to the world that this UNESCO project and United Nations project really had demonstrated that people of all nationalities could work together. And to introduce them, we took them off to a reindeer party.
Our reindeer man's gone around the front of the herd, and he's coming this way now, and I'm going to go up behind and see if I can grab one of the little darlings. Yalla! 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 Yalla!
Well done, Peter.
Now, if you look at that smoke, you've got a 50, 60 mile an hour wind behind it. And it was quite a struggle to keep on our feet walking. In fact, I think all of us at one stage in the 2 or 3 days there were just literally swept off our feet. And I was keen to get away to yet another gulag. It sounds like there have been many, but this one, this labour camp, was really a labour camp of death. This is where they sent prisoners, innocent political prisoners, to their death, because this is where they mined uranium.
It's got to be one of the most horrific human places in the world. Civilization would never build a place here. I mean, you'd only build a place here if you wanted to kill people. And each stone was probably dragged up from the bottom of the valley by human hands and feet, and they'd put them up here and they'd contribute a few and then they'd die.
I mean, how can people survive here? You know? I mean, as Jeff said, they literally would have contributed maybe a couple of stones and just died. You know, how can we ever conceive what they went through? I think of the people exiled here by the fearful regime of power, the beauty of the land distorted by the nature of the elements, the struggle to survive highlighted by memories of home, the fear of death not by strike of a hand, but by the harsh components of the land. So many deaths, so many souls, and so much to live for.